Hey friends, welcome back to Food Prep Guide. If you've started a garden or you're thinking about starting one, you're probably eager to see your plants thrive. But the truth is, many new gardeners struggle unnecessarily. The good news is, these common mistakes are incredibly easy to fix once you know what they are and what to look for. In the next few minutes, we will cover 10 of the most common gardening mistakes that can mean the difference between a flourishing gardening experience and a frustrating one. You don't need to be an expert to avoid simple errors that pretty much everyone makes, including myself, so don't feel bad. In fact, mistake number 2 is something almost every new gardener makes. I certainly did when I started, and it's a biggie. And mistake number 9 is the reason why many tomatoes fail to thrive for beginner gardeners. If you can be aware of these things from the start, you can see success in the garden that much faster. Let's get started. If you are new to gardening or would like to teach your children or grandchildren this valuable skill, we have a Gardening for Beginners unit study coming soon. In the description box of the video you're watching, you will find a link where you can enter the giveaway for a chance to win a free copy. The winner will be notified by email, and everyone who enters will be notified when the unit study is available. If you're watching this video at a later date, it's possible that Gardening for Beginners is already available. If that's the case, you will be able to access it at the same link that's in the description box. If you're new here, we invite you to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming tutorials on gardening, canning, cooking, and more. Mistake number 1 is feeling like you need to know it all first. One of the biggest barriers to starting a garden is thinking you need to know things before you plant your first seed. Many people spend months researching, buying books, watching videos, but never actually get their hands dirty because they're afraid to fail. The truth is, gardening is a hands-on learning experience. No amount of reading can replace the lessons you'll learn by simply starting. Now, don't get me wrong, I am a huge proponent of doing proper research as part of your learning journey. But if it stops you from actually getting out there and doing it, at some point, learning from a page has to transition to learning from your real life. And I am speaking from a recovering perfectionist, and I understand getting stuck in this cycle of endless research, thinking, if I could just learn a little bit more, I will be successful before ever getting out there. But when it comes to the garden, you really just need to get out there. Let me encourage you that mistakes are going to be made. It's totally fine. It's part of the learning experience. Just start small. Plant a few easy growing vegetables or flowers. Some of the easiest things to grow in my experience has been cucumbers, and a lot of your lettuces are really easy to grow. Squash and zucchini, they just grow out the wazoo where we live. Squash bugs are an issue, but the plants grow really easily. The point is just to get out there, make the mistakes, and learn from them. You'll learn what grows well in your soil, what doesn't, what your family likes, what they don't, and so on. Each season will make you better, and that real-world experience is priceless. Mistake number 2 is watering in a back-and-forth motion. Now, that might sound a little strange, but especially because it looks natural whenever you see it on TV or social media. Everyone is watering the garden with this quick back-and-forth spraying motion. But this common watering technique is actually doing your plants a disservice. The shallow watering encourages roots to stay near the surface where they're vulnerable to heat and drought. Plants need deep, strong roots to thrive, so instead, water slowly and deeply at the very base of each plant. This will encourage roots to grow downward, creating stronger plants that can better withstand dry periods. Aim for less frequent but more thorough watering sessions. Your goal should be to moisten the soil to a depth of about 6 inches for most plants. Mistake number 3 is placing your garden too far from a water source, and this is one that's hard to realize until after the fact. You find the perfect sunny spot for your garden, but it's the furthest corner from your yard, 100 feet from the nearest water source. When your garden requires daily watering, especially during those hot summer months, that distance becomes a major obstacle. And many gardens fail simply because watering becomes too inconvenient. Before placing your garden, consider how you'll water it. Ideally, your garden should be within easy reach of a hose or an irrigation system. If you have to place it far from water, you might want to consider investing in proper irrigation or even rain barrels to make watering manageable. Remember, a slightly less perfect location that gets watered regularly will outperform a perfect location that's neglected. Mistake number 4 is ignoring your specific climate zone. It's a fact, plants that thrive in California will probably struggle in Michigan. But so many beginners choose plants based on what looks good online or what they've seen in gardening magazines or even what their favorite YouTuber grows. But every region has a climate zone that determines what will grow well there. Ignoring this is setting yourself up for disappointment in the garden. So check your USDA hardiness zone and learn which plants are best suited for your region. They have a handy tool online where you can enter your zip code and it'll tell you your zone. You can also talk to local gardeners or visit nearby garden centers for advice on what grows well in your specific area. Working with your climate rather than against it will save you time, money, and frustration. Mistake number 5 is poor soil preparation. Many beginners treat soil as an afterthought, but it is actually the foundation of your garden's success. Using straight backyard soil or the cheapest potting mix you can find is a recipe for just mediocre results. Plants need a variety of nutrients, proper drainage, and good structure to thrive. Poor soil will almost always lead to poor growth, no matter how well you do everything else. So take time to improve your soil before planting. For in-ground gardens, this can mean amending your soil with quality compost. For containers, it might mean investing in a high-quality potting mix or even making your own. Good gardeners grow plants, but great gardeners grow soil. Mistake number 6 is using too much fertilizer. When plants aren't thriving, our first and natural reaction is to reach for the fertilizer. But over-fertilizing is like force-feeding your plants, and it can cause more harm than good. Excess fertilizer can actually burn roots, create weak and leggy growth, and make plants more susceptible to pests and diseases. So you'll want to follow package directions precisely, especially if you're using synthetic fertilizers. Start with less than what you think you need. You can always add more later. But better yet, focus on building healthy soil with things like kitchen compost, which releases nutrients slowly and safely. And if you haven't already, I highly recommend looking into natural fertilizers as opposed to synthetic ones. These include, but are not limited to, things like aged manure, bat guano, and cotton burr compost. Mistake number 7 is not using mulch. Bare soil in your garden is a missed opportunity. Without mulch, your soil will dry out faster, weeds will grow more aggressively, and your soil temperature will fluctuate dramatically, which can affect your plant's growth. Also, the biological life that thrives in healthy soil loves to be covered. So mulch is a garden's best friend. It conserves moisture, suppresses weeds, regulates soil temperature, and gradually improves the soil quality as it breaks down. You'll want to apply 2 to 3 inches of mulch like aged wood chips, straw, or leaf mold around your plants, keeping it a few inches away from stems. One word of caution I will give about mulch is to, especially if you're using straw or hay, you want to make sure that it has not come from a field that was sprayed with herbicides. This is something that you would want to ask the manufacturer or the farmer, whoever your source is for that straw and hay. Be sure to ask if it's ever been sprayed or if it came from a field that's been sprayed. Whatever mulch you choose, you want to refresh it as needed throughout the growing season. This simple step can reduce your watering by up to 50% and significantly cut down on weeding time. Mistake number 8 is ignoring pest problems until they're severe. It's easy to overlook a few holes in leaves or a small cluster of aphids, and to be honest, that's just going to happen regardless, even if you stay on top of your pest observations. But garden pests can multiply rapidly, and what seems manageable one day can become an infestation the next. By the time many beginners notice pest problems, the population is already out of control and harder to manage, and let me tell you, that will just make you want to give up. So make a habit of inspecting your plants regularly, especially the undersides of the leaves where many pests hide, and most of them lay their eggs on the underside of the leaves. Address problems when they're small using the least invasive methods first, like a strong spray of water, hand picking, or introducing beneficial insects. Early intervention means you're likely to need less, or you won't need harsh chemical controls later, hopefully. Okay, mistake number 9 is planting tomatoes like every other plant. Tomatoes are by far the most popular backyard garden vegetable, but they have unique needs that you just don't really understand until you get in there and start growing them. Unlike most plants, tomatoes need to be planted deeply with much of the stem buried. When planted shallow, like other vegetables, tomatoes develop weak root systems that can't support their heavy fruit or supply enough water during hot weather. When planting tomatoes, I highly recommend removing the lower leaves and burying the stem so that only the top 4 to 6 inches of the plant remains above ground. This is going to encourage your roots to develop all along the buried stem and create a stronger, more drought-resistant plant with better yields. And just in case you don't know, if you've ever noticed that a tomato plant's stem is hairy, all of those hairs, once buried, will turn into roots, and that's where the roots come from. So more of those little hairs buried, the better. Tomatoes are one of the few plants that benefit from deep planting like this. I don't recommend it for pretty much any of your other plants. Okay, mistake number 10 is trying to grow everything at once. Tell me if you've done this. The seed catalog arrives and suddenly you want to grow it all. I have been there. The enthusiasm is wonderful, but planting too much too soon is a recipe for garden burnout. Ask me how I know. A garden that is too large or complex quickly becomes overwhelming to maintain. Weeds take over, watering becomes a chore, and what started as a joy can become a source of stress. So start small and focus on a few vegetables or flowers you truly love eating or just looking at. There's a lot to be said from joy just from watching plants grow and seeing their beauty. Master those before expanding. It's better to have a small, well-maintained garden that brings you joy than an overly ambitious one that becomes neglected. You can always grow more next year. Remember, gardening is not about perfection. Every gardener makes mistakes, even experienced ones like me, but each mistake is a chance to learn and grow. The most important thing is to get out there and start, observe, and adjust. I hope this has been helpful to you, and that's all for today. We'll see you next time. Bye!